episode of Dead Men Walking. I'm your host, Greg, and to my left is
your co-host, Jason.
Co-host Jason Hamlin. You guys like that tune?
I dig it.
Yet another one.
I think it might be because I'm playing the guitar.
Because you're playing it, so
I think I like it. I don't know.
For those of you listening, we're basically auditioning intros for the listeners. We're on our 5th different intro in 5 weeks. Jason laid down about 30 of them.
It was about 30 minutes of just recording 20-second snippets.
I just work on the cover art.
Greg,
he goes in here and starts laying down riffs and licks.
It's fun.
We'll figure out something.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get there eventually. But how you doing, brother?
Doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. Can you believe we got snow today?
We got snow today?
We did.
I know it's 27 degrees after being 65 yesterday.
I know, exactly. Shorts and a t-shirt the other day, and got my heat blasting on the way over here.
It's insane, man.
Whatever.
It's like winter in the morning, spring in the afternoon.
I know.
Summer in the evening.
It's Michigan.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait 5 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool, man. So everything's good?
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, listen, we want to get right into it because we have some return guests on, and we're excited to have them. You guys probably know them. The listeners do, because I'm sure we have some crossover with them on who's listening to the podcast. I like to call them the Misfits in Moscow myself. We have the CrossPolitic boys on. How you guys doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us.
Audience clapping. Look at this.
Yep.
We have the greatest fake audience you will ever meet.
Yeah. They're behind the camera.
You know what?
Don't worry about the curtain.
They can follow us everywhere we go.
That's right. Cool. Well, we're going to get into talking about the Fight, Laugh, Feast rally that is being held in South Dakota here shortly. But before that, we wanted to get into a little news where we cover a couple news stories that came up this week. We like to get guest input too, so guys, feel free to jump in if you want to. Jason, a little newsy news?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
News, the news, the newsy news, the news, the news, the news. We got some news!
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Well, check this out, man. Greg, I know you're a real estate agent, right?
I am.
So this was
now.
a pretty cool story. 76 all-cash offers on one home. The housing madness
Story of my life right now.
Yeah, right. The housing madness shows no signs of slowing. So
wait, 76 all-cash offers on one house.
All-cash offers. So check this out. Ellen Coleman had never received so many offers on a house in her 15 years of selling real estate. She listed a fixer-upper in suburban Washington, D.C., for $275,000. $275,000 in D.C.? Yeah, right. I want to know where that's at. By Sunday... on a Thursday, yeah. And then by Sunday, she had 88 offers, and 76 of them were cash.
Gosh. Dude, if I'm the selling agent and I have 76 offers, I'm walking into that client's house just like, what up? Let's get this thing sold. You know what I mean? That's the market right now, though, man.
Yeah.
Like even in Michigan, and I don't know how it is out by you guys, but it's crazy. I'm doing over list offers, guaranteed money, over appraisal, and I just was beat out by a cash offer that was $50,000. We put in $50,000 over the list price and was still beat out by an escalated cash offer. And I'm going, who's walking around with $300,000 cash in their pocket?
Right.
First of all, in little old Monroe, Michigan.
They got to be post-mill. They've been planning for that, right?
Or they just getting that free printed money from the government.
Or that. Hey, now.
Hey, can I put my stimmy down for the down payment on this thing?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
How's the real estate market out there, guys? Do you guys know anything about that? I think TJ just covered his daily news brief.
Yeah, I think we have like 8 houses on the market right now.
and 3 of those are already sold.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy out here. There's no supply on the market right now. Part of it is we live in a college town, so generally speaking, golly,
speaking Texas too early, bro.
Exactly. January, February. There's the real estate market really goes from April to like September, October because of the college cycle and everything. So in the winter, we don't have that many houses on the market, but it's really bad this year. Really bad.
Everything's cranked way up. So I think it's all over the country.
I think realtors right now here are saying, "Hey, do you really like your place?" They're kind of doing this weird, like, shift with like paper cup shift.
Trying to convince people to sell their houses.
Don't you want to sell your house? Because this guy wants to sell his house.
That's what Greg did to me.
I did it to Jason.
He did that to me last October. He was like, "Hey, man, you could get about $50,000 over on your house."
Oh, really?
Now he's living in a dog house out in the field somewhere. It's all good though.
Yeah, right.
I made that commission.
Yeah. There you go.
So it is crazy. I think it's nationwide. Inventory is super low. What's happening is people are holding on to their homes, not selling, because if you're upgrading, I'm in that same situation. I'm getting 20% over the last 18 years over what I had before appreciation, but I'm going to pay that 20% some or more somewhere else when I purchase.
Right.
And then that just encourages the cycle of low inventory. Builders can't keep up. Heck, OSB was $6 a year ago here. Now it's $30. So costs have gone up there.
Yep.
Guys, I would just say go ahead.
No, I was wondering, like, I've never seen people so cash rich though either.
Right.
Like that's really like when you say 76 people offer a cash for this house, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
I haven't seen people have so much money who haven't been working in the last year.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where does that come from? And that they're putting money on houses and challenging each other to raise it even higher.
Are these people all relocating? Because that's a lot. I've noticed a lot of it. I mean, I don't know about DC. That's kind of a strange one.
Who's moving in there?
Yeah, like what's wrong with you? But,
well, you get a new administration, and there's actually a big turnover at the beginning of
DC.
So,
but like I know up here, we've got a lot of people coming in from California and Washington, Oregon, trying to get away from the blue state crazy.
We need to vet them better.
We do, but I mean. But their housing markets have been way, 300, 400% more than,
our markets
for a long time. And so they come out cash rich
into Idaho.
And they can sell their house that maybe they were making payments on in San Francisco, and they can pay cash here. 400,000 easy.
Right.
Yeah. No, we won't stick on this much longer, but I did get an update from our, basically it's an RSS feed that comes out of Lansing, which is our state capital. And they said the only reason we're even close to not being in balance, but not just being catastrophic, is because of the exodus out of Michigan due to our governor's corona rules. We've seen 6% increase, 6 to 8% increase in people exiting the state and going to places like Texas, heck, Moscow, Idaho, possibly Tennessee, other places like that. So those legislative laws have effects. But what else we got?
Wow. Yeah. So let's see here. All right. So 501c3s, get ready for this one. Okay. Kamala Harris, vice president, vice in quotes. She just said, and I quote, "And I want to talk with you about your thoughts about how we can, and you in particular, as our faith-based leaders, can help us to make sure that everyone, when it is their turn, gets a vaccine." So I guess she just met with leaders in the church.
She said,
and she
faith
never
leaders,
says it doesn't say who. We did try to Google to find out who was in that.
They won't say
meeting, but they will not say.
All they told us is it was 5 people in person and 4 people on Zoom, just to make sure that they kept up the charade of social distancing and the virtue signaling of everything that goes with COVID. But so
you know who else met with the church to try to convince them to do some social engineering? Margaret Sanger.
I thought you were going to say the devil.
Yeah, I was going to
say Caesar. I don't know.
Caesar.
She works.
No, he's absolutely right. No, that's a good point. But my point was, when we posted that to our Instagram account, and you guys can go take a look at that at Debney Walking Podcast, was they're already enticing. We've seen both left and right do this, where they will try to take the church and use it for a tool to satisfy their agenda. So they're meeting with faith leaders saying, look, you need to get everyone in line, get the vaccination. Now we can have a discussion on whether you're pro or anti on that specific vaccination. That's fine. But at the end of the day, they have a very specific agenda with the vaccine passports, like we discussed last week, and in appealing to faith leaders, air quotes, like we said, we don't know who they were, to essentially corral people into, or convince people into, doing an action by the federal government. And I think that's
getting a vaccine on a Sabbath. They're going to line them up.
Yeah, I guess so.
What's going on?
Well, did you guys see that picture of the church where on one side there was a sign for people that had been vaccinated and those who hadn't been? Was that photoshopped or was that real?
I took it as real.
It was going around. But, I don't know.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, separate but equal. Vaxxers and anti-vaxxers.
Exactly.
Good God.
What could go wrong?
Whenever the federal government comes into a 501c3 or the church, which I don't think it should be anyway, but when it comes in, it's not a corral; it's a threat.
Yeah.
That's what. Like it might sound nice.
It starts gentle,
but there's a hiss behind all of that. It starts. Yeah. Tyranny always starts with gentleness, right?
Absolutely.
We mask because we care.
Yeah.
You mean you mask because you Karen?
That's right.
No, the federal government always uses the power of the purse. I mean, even Dr. Ben Merkel, who we had on a few weeks ago, and thank you for sending that out so we could have him on. One of the things that really impressed me was him talking about not accepting federal money as a university, as a college, because it really frees you up to do the job of post-secondary education. And that's what the federal government does. They do it to states, the states do it to the locals, and it trickles down, and then we're all just basically bowing to the almighty dollar.
Right.
Is that all we got, Jason?
Right.
Yeah. Those are the two. Those are the two stories.
Cool. Well, let's get into.
Man, I was just warming up.
Well, let me find another one here.
More news.
There's an island for sale in Ireland if you guys want to go there. It's $115,000.
Oh, yeah. Actually, they do have some pretty nice ones in the Caribbean right now for under $2 million. I mean, if we can find
really? That's it?
That cash rich.
Oh, okay. Well,
let's go set up our.
I did just get a stimmy.
You would know.
That's true. Probably have to pay over list though.
Yeah.
Golly. Oh, but yeah. So we got Fight Laugh Feast coming up, man.
Yep.
Jason, you and I
excited.
Jason came to me back in, what was it, August? Maybe before that, and said, "Hey,
probably way before that.
You listen to CrossPolitic, right?" I said, "No." He said, "You going to? We're going to go to the Fight Laugh Feast rally, right?" I go, "What are you talking about?"
Yep.
He goes, "Oh, you gotta listen to this podcast. You gotta get on the train. We got to go down there." And we went down there, and we still.
I was telling everybody, man. We actually recruited somebody. They bought a plane ticket and everything. They're coming out to South Dakota. Sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Hey, there you go. That's right. You shackle them up and throw them on a plane, baby. We'll take it.
Right. But it was so great. We still talk about it. It was just 3 days of just praising the Lord. Glorifying God. Men, women, children, all in the same vein, same thought. I mean, the teachings were exquisite. About Durbin's speech a year later, 8 months later, whatever it is.
George Grant's.
Grant.
Rod D. Martin's.
DeMar was awesome when we had him on. But anyway, I digress. For anyone listening.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget about Toby. Toby spoke too.
Toby. His was awesome.
Talk was amazing.
You were good.
You were good.
It's genuine.
It's weird.
Genuine.
It's weird though, because I go to bed listening to the audiobook Rules for Reformers, and it's his voice. It's Toby's voice. Right. And I wake up to him too. My wife is like, "We got to talk about this." Man.
Hey, Blood Bought World though, man. Y'all got to get hip to Blood Bought World.
Yeah.
Oh man, so good.
Yeah, that book he's thundering in that book.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a great success, and they got another one coming out. They got a rally in South Dakota. Guys, can you talk about that a little bit? How this came to be, what the format's going to be, the kind of the overlying subject matter, and
speakers,
and get into it a little bit for us. Let us know so we can promote this thing, because it's going to be another great rally.
South Dakota invited us.
Nice.
Yes.
That's right. So that's actually how it started.
The governor?
Someone had mentioned us on one of the governor's threads on our Facebook page, and so however it got through the ranks, the tourism department called us and said, "Hey, we saw you on the governor's page. Love for you guys to come out and do a conference here in South Dakota." And so that actually happened around close, right before our Fight Laugh Feast conference in Nashville back in October, and we kind of kicked it around. They were rolling out the red carpet in a lot of ways for us, and we just decided to kind of table it. Well, in December, we come back from our conference, and then in December, we kind of pick up the conversation, and with all the churches being shut down and the masking requirements in churches, or churches doing online only, or a lot of the silliness that was going on with the churches, we decided, what can we do to help? And so we really decided to do a conference or a rally. We're calling it a rally. It's kind of the 2.5 day style rally, like our conference in Nashville. And so we decided to do it in South Dakota to encourage the church, bring people together, and do it in one of the freest states during the coronavirus pandemic. And so that's why we decided to go to Rapid City.
So we decided basically for 2021, we wanted to do 2 events. Yeah. So the idea was we were going to go back to Nashville. We announced that actually at the end of the conference. We're coming back to Nashville to do a conference again in October, but that's a whole year. And given the political landscape, we just really want to encourage the people of God to stand strong. It feels like you're alone. I think a lot of people feel like they're the only one in their church that thinks this way, or they're the only one in their community that cares. And so we didn't want to give it a whole year. We wanted to step in and encourage. And so that's why we said, hey, well, let's do a rally in April. South Dakota, they invited us to come here. South Dakota is the only state in the union that didn't shut down during the COVID crazy.
And didn't shut any of the churches down, businesses down, everything.
We wanted to support that and use and sort of wave a flag and say this is a model of constitutional freedom.
Right.
That was the idea.
And something else too. One of the things that happened this past year with the fight that John MacArthur had, I'm surprised that almost every conference coming up didn't say, hey, we're planting a flag. We're flying a flag right now. No, you can't come back any further. And so I think this is one of the ways to do that too, is to say, listen, God has given us certain liberties that you can't encroach upon.
Yeah.
And so this is where you stop at. No, you don't get to dictate what goes on our face. No, you can't tell us when and how many people. No, you can't do this to the people who need to have relationships and touch human beings and separate them from their families. You don't get to do that.
Right.
And and that's why, like Gabe said earlier, South Dakota was important because they didn't do that. Out of all the places in the nation, and a free nation in America, they didn't do that. Right. And people were able to make their own decisions, and
we joke was we're so thankful for the conference last October. We're thankful you guys were there.
Yeah, you guys had the corner market on
man,
podcast.
that was crazy.
They laid down the floor. You remember that?
They brought a mat. It was great. It was great. I mean, so you guys and everybody else that came made it a roaring success. And I agree with you. I was really blessed by the speakers too. So God's blessing was on it. At the same time, there's sort of a part of it where we were joking, like given, 2020 and the COVID year of everything being canceled, the only thing you had to do to succeed in having a Christian conference was to have it.
Yeah.
God has lowered the bar. Like here's, you want to be a church that's growing, just be open. Right? Yeah. Don't require masks and social distancing.
Right.
All the churches that are having normal church are blowing up that I know of. They're all blowing up.
Right.
There are little podunk Bible churches outside our community here that I've recently heard are blowing up, having baptisms and conversions and all kinds of stuff.
Praise God.
And they word's gotten back to us actually that a lot of it is due to the fact that Gabe got arrested and we were singing Psalms and basically they're like, hey, we're in. We're going to worship. So we're going to have another conference. We're just going to meet. We're going to be there. We're going to be in person. We're going to be face to face. And we're going to have a party because that's what freedom looks like.
I want to say yes and amen to that. And I want to say one of the things that I've learned from Pastor Wilson and from Toby is pursuit as well.
Yeah.
Christians don't do a good job with pursuit.
This is in rules for reformers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so right now, to me, and I don't want to, I'm glad that people are doing conferences, but there's this kind of thing that happens where they turn on the blinders, like this other stuff isn't going on.
Right.
Like, and so when they do something, they don't say, man, this is actually the place where they say we can't hit. And so we're not going to hit there.
No.
Right? Now, and so with the opposite. With the rally, it's like, oh, we can't. Oh, well, let's push in this button, which is what the Fight Laugh Feast conference was last year as well.
Exactly. They said you can't meet, and we met.
With the rally, we're saying, well, how do we strike again?
Right.
How do we pursue? While right now, with the opportunity is there.
And the idea very much is a rally, meaning we want the theme is love God, sing psalms, defy tyrants. This is keying off of Gabe's arrest. Great shirt, by the way. Did you wear that on purpose?
I
did. Can you see that
What
shirt?
does it say? Notorious.
Notorious. There's the CEO of Classical Conversations, Robert Bortons. He made that shirt for us, for us at the conference and brought it to us.
Gabe getting arrested.
There's two cops on each side and Robert put a
with the Biggie smile.
Notorious B.I.G.
Notorious G-A-B-E.
But
that's funny.
But with James Coates being in prison, getting out with all the fines, especially in Canada, we're so grateful to have Joe Boot coming as a sort of Canadian rep.
We're smuggling that joker in, boy.
He's been heavily involved in speaking out, having public protests against even worse regulations in Canada. But with Gabe's arrest, the psalm sing event and so on, we want it to be a rally where we meet and it's like a huddle.
Yeah.
And then we want to send everybody out really to then go be
Amen.
Not ignore what's going on,
right.
but rather it's a huddle, get encouragement, 1, 2, 3, break, and then go home, go to your churches, go to your families, and then start something.
Right.
Yeah. No, and you guys, you want to know what? I want to say 2 things about that really quick. One, you're absolutely right. It doesn't have a feel of a normal conference. That I think was one of the biggest things for me is the way you guys timed it out, the speakers. I mean, I'd never been to a conference where there's 1,000 people singing a cappella psalms to the Lord.
With a beer in their hand.
With a beer in their hand, some of them, all done in moderation and in glory to God. And the feel of that. 2, Toby, you said, we've set the bar very low with, hey, just have a conference, just be open. But that bar isn't being met by churches to where they're looking around and they're going, well, someone else will do it and step up. And we had a gentleman on a couple months ago who said the same thing. And I've heard it time and time again. Everyone just kind of looking around and going, okay, who's the leader that's going to step up nationally and say, this isn't right? And there's only been a few, and you guys are one of the few. And I'm not saying that to puff up or anything like that. But I think that's why that was a great response. And 2, I think you need to continue to do that. So these rallies, even if they are every 6 months, absolutely, man. If the bar is going to be set low and the church isn't going to even try to attain that low bar, then you guys just keep exceeding it. And we love that you guys are doing it. But can you tell us a little bit about the speakers and kind of maybe what they're going to touch on for the listeners if they want to go online right now, buy a ticket, and meet us in South Dakota?
Gabe?
I'll take it. Yeah, we got actually the lineup's pretty fun. We got we got of course Pastor Toby. We got Pastor Doug Wilson. We got Dr. Ben. Hang on, we'll get there. We'll get there in a second.
Okay, right.
we got.
I'll think about it while he's talking. I'll think about it while he's talking.
She knows what you're talking about. And you don't know
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. We got Pastor Doug, of course, and we'll get into his topics here in a minute. But Dr. Ben Merkel. And one of my favorites that we got coming that wasn't able to come to our Nashville conference was N.D. Wilson, Nate Wilson. Yeah. He's speaking on why Christians shouldn't suck. Really excited about that topic. The art of Christians not sucking. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we got Steve Deace, who's on fire right now.
Man.
If you guys are following Steve Deace, number one book on Amazon right now on the Faucian bargain. He was on Tucker Carlson last night. He's speaking. We're going to be doing a live show with Steve also at the conference on Saturday afternoon. He doesn't know that yet. I need to talk about it. And then we got Sheriff Wheeler. Really excited about, one of the things we got Sheriff Wheeler coming to talk about why your sheriffs are so important.
Absolutely.
Like that's a lost civic lesson that we need to recover. And then we got Joe Boot from Canada. We're trying to encourage our brothers up in Canada of what they're doing. I mean, they're fighting. There's 65 churches opening in Canada this weekend for Easter Sunday.
Wow.
That's 65. That's only 65 in Canada. Yeah, the brave 65.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we're excited to have Joe come down. Joe is going to be talking about, I gave him Jesus is king over tyrants. Okay. Very simple.
Yeah.
Jesus king, post-mill, over tyrants, and everything. So Pastor Wilson, we got him speaking on 2 subjects. One is a theology of tyrants. One of the things that us as Christians that we actually haven't done a good job kind of thinking through is how do we think about when a government overreaches as Christians, and then where do we push back, and why should we push back? We don't want to be a bunch of Christians who end up on the Capitol on January 6th. Right. We want to be thoughtful
with horns on our heads.
Standing next to Mr. Tumnus inside the Capitol.
Yeah, because they confiscated all of our guns.
He just dropped a C.S. Lewis quote. Yeah, nice.
I can always tell him I like Tumnus. He's a good guy. But he's like,
before you move on, I want to say something else. Were you on Pastor Wilson?
Yeah, I was on Pastor Wilson.
There are a few people out there right now. There's a lot of people that are waking up to this, but there's a few people who have a 30 to 40 year understanding of what's going on and has been right about this for 40 years. So much so that he started institutions for education because that was the best way to fight back. There are a few people who are qualified in that level to speak on this level. And everybody's conference right now is mind blowing.
I mean,
you're right. I mean, everybody knows too, because he's a guilty pleasure of everybody. They just don't want to talk about it.
Right,
But
right.
He has been on this level talking about this for a long time, and so I'm very happy that he's coming to the conference right now to talk about this. And everybody needs to be there and figure out how. If you go back in the library, I think the Canon Press app is a plug for Canon Press app.
Yeah.
There are conversations from back in 1993, 94, the history conference, where he's calling this out.
Yeah.
And you're listening to him saying, how did you get this?
Almost 30 years ago.
Right.
I mean, Doug ain't no prophet, but
Yeah.
You know, and so
Small P.
I mean,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
when he has a chance to, matter of fact, I think he's so loaded with content that some of it he just doesn't talk about anymore. But there's a library. When I started down this journey of understanding what was going on, there's a library that Doug has been on this journey for a very long time that we need to go back and open up again and say, oh, wow, he's been.
yeah.
Anyway, I just want to make that.
And I want to. So Pastor Toby, I'm gonna get back to Doug's second talk here in a second. But Pastor Toby is going to be talking about confession of sin and worship.
Ooh, glory.
And one of the ways we designed the conference, the talks, the rally talks at the conference was we want people to kind of come in and kind of feel the conviction of the Holy Spirit at the door.
Ooh, praise God.
How many conferences come in and talk about confession of sin?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we started the conferences that we're working on is because so many conferences are stale, boring. They're rehashing old topics.
Wow.
They're coming in and talking about the holiness of God, which is a great topic. But how many conferences do that? And all you do is get theology, and it's encouraging and everything, but you don't get that theology into your bones, and that's why it's so important. Every conference we do, we want to start off with some version of a talk on confessing sin.
You can see it, and that's a good point because you see it in our politics. When you start really embodying the doctrine of God, as we should be learning about these things, it comes out in how we actually think about what is a man, what is a woman. To the point that our arguments aren't in, well, just look at it as natural. That's true, but what has God said? Because he's the one in charge. He defines the terms and the nature of things. So when the doctrine of God is there, it actually bleeds out through your politics and your voting and everything else, and even your conversations and to combat some of the things in the culture right now.
Well, and if all your conference, like Knox just said, if all your conferences just have these stale, rehashed, topics that are good and right and biblical, a lot of these conferences are. I mean,
that we need.
God, I agree with you. Amen. Right. But the problem is you end up eventually throwing a MLK 50 conference. And then, 20 years down the road, you're going to end up throwing a Ravi Zacharias 50 conference.
We can bleep that out. No, I'm joking.
We are not throwing a Ravi Zacharias 50 conference.
No, but I'm saying because none of these conferences talk about confessing sin. None of these conferences talk about like real pertinent in the moment issues. Like defying tyrants.
Well, we're not supposed to, right? We're supposed to live quiet, peaceable lives, right?
And that's exactly where I'm going. Is the ditch that a lot of these conferences have fallen into is this veneer of biblical theology that has positioned them in a corner because it never came out their fingertips. It positioned them into a corner to throw in an MLK 50, and they don't know what's happened.
Gabe's being meaner than I want to be, but I just want to say that there's
well, I think good theology should hit you in the face.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep. Right.
Amen.
I mean, if it is God, if it's the God of the Bible, I mean, God never shows up in the Bible and everybody says, "Well, that was nice."
That's right. You're right.
God shows up and messes everything up.
Shakes those foundations, baby.
Absolutely.
Who else is speaking?
So who else is speaking? Ben Merkel. Ben Merkel is going to be speaking.
He's a sleeper.
One of the most, Ben might have said this on y'all's podcast before, but one of the most subversive moves that Christians can be doing is giving your kids a Christian education.
Wow.
And so Ben's talk is so we talk about like, hey, we need to fight tyrants. Well, one of the best ways to do it is actually just disciple your kids in the Lord and give them a Christian education.
Can I jump in there real quick?
Say that your kids don't belong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Say it with your chest. I want to say one thing too. I don't believe you as you talk about freedom, as you talk about the impact of culture, and you still got your kids in government schools.
That's right.
I don't believe you because that is the easiest place for you to be able to actually function and defy tyrants is right there. You are saying you don't have ownership of your kids.
Yeah. And you're going to let your tyrant educate your kids while you're trying to defy a tyrant?
Well, then
that don't make sense.
They're sending tyrants back home to you.
That's right.
So
Look,
I don't believe you when you do that.
And you know, the excuse that I can't homeschool, I work a job or 2 jobs or whatever. First of all, that's fundamentally flawed. What's more important, how many cars and campers and houses you have versus raising up a child in the way that they should go. But secondly, COVID forced a lot of parents to go, okay, we got to rearrange our schedule. We got to figure out how to learn from home. Now, I would argue that sitting in front of a Chromebook for 6 hours and having a tyrant teach your children is not homeschooling, but they're at home, okay? So we saw very quickly that when the federal government says everyone has to stay home and can't go to work, boy, did we all rearrange our lives to make sure that we could, air quotes, homeschool our kids. And it's like, so where's the priority within the Christian church? I'll tell you what, I'm in my 7th year of homeschooling. My wife and I are 3 children. And I used to be a little softer on this. I'd go, well, whatever works best for you. And now after the last 3 years of listening to Doug, it's like, I'm an elected official, man. And I've got superintendents coming to me saying, we want you to publicly endorse a technology millage. And I'm like, yeah, go pound sand. I'm not giving you any more money. You're not going to get my endorsement. I don't agree with public schools. I wish everyone in my county would homeschool. In fact, I want my property tax back because I pay property taxes that go to those schools and I'm not using it. So it's this weird thing to where, you're absolutely right. When you have guys like you and you guys are doing rallies and Pastor Doug Wilson and TJ and all those guys, and you're speaking about this with authority and it's theology that's hitting in your face, you're actually doing that. You're taking people, and I'm an example of that understood it, but wasn't effectually, doing it proactively. I was almost being pacifist about it. And then you read through the Bible, and I don't really see a lot of pacificity in the Bible, like you guys said. Not a whole lot of it.
I'm trying to figure how people afford not to educate their kids.
Oh, yeah, they can.
I'm trying to figure out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't afford not to.
It's costing you.
Absolutely.
It's costing you.
I love it. Would you just tweet, it's like, train up your kids properly because pretty soon they'll be working with you in one way or another?
Yeah. Train up your kids like they're going to be your business partners in 15, 20 years. Yeah. Because they will be one way or the other.
That's right.
Ooh, that's a good tweet.
Yep. I mean, even if you weren't thinking that, they're costing you.
That's right.
I mean, if they're rebellious, if they hate God, if they got several people pregnant, whatever, like it's costing you. Yeah. Your business is sunk. That's your inheritance.
Yeah.
Or else it's a huge blessing, which is what we're seeing by God's grace a lot of in our community here, where you've got generations now growing up, and our kids and grandkids are coming alongside us, and they're even more equipped than we are. So Doug's other talk is on worship is warfare. Yeah, and we often
I like that.
we have lost the concept of what worship is actually doing in our lives.
Yes.
In this world. We have internalized or thought that worship is something for me to go get encouragement or for me to go get some sort of good emotional response on Sunday, as opposed to actually what worship is doing. What we're doing is we're asking God to act here on earth.
Yes.
Worship is warfare. We're praying that God's kingdom will come, that his will be done, and we're praising him, and we're asking God, what you're doing in this worship service, we want you to do in this world.
I've asked that question too. I just go, look, listener, when is the last time you've walked into a worship service and you had to lay prostrate on the ground and remove your shoes because you were on holy ground? You had to empty yourself and feel so humble because the Lord is showing up and you are in his presence. It doesn't happen that often in churches anymore. And honestly, it's nothing about we bring blessing to the Lord, glory and honor to his name in a worship service.
Are you bringing up charismatic stuff right now? What's going on here?
I'm just...
My organ is hot.
Come on now. Kicking anyone in the stomach, okay? We're not going Todd Bentley circa 2008. Anyway.
Oh, man.
My point was I get blessing from worship, but that's just the byproduct of me blessing the Lord and coming in humbleness. But you're absolutely right. It's used as a weapon as well, and we see that in the Psalms. And, I mean, love God, sing psalms, defy tyrants. It's right behind you. I mean, those three things, right?
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, one of the things, I think Pastor Toby said this a couple weeks ago on the show, and I think it's so important. He said, when we teach people to worship in an emotional state, and we're not actually teaching worship God's way, so that when another emotion like fear comes in, then it's no surprise that everybody's designed then.
They've been discipled by emotions.
To to be able to not go to church.
When fear comes in, then they do what they've been discipled to do, and they run and hide.
Yeah, but when you were singing God's word back to him on asking him to come fight your enemies for you as you go out to battle, well, you have a different attitude and approach. You've been discipled a different way so that when war comes, your emotion isn't fear, but trust in the Lord.
There's some steel in your bones.
Wow, that'll
right.
preach. Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, as we wrap it up here, can you let people know how they can get tickets, when the event will be, the Fight Laugh Feast rally in South Dakota, when it'll be, and even if they want, I know you guys are doing vendor spots too. If someone wants to come there and be a vendor, can you give them a little information on that?
Yeah, so we still got tickets. We got a great convention center. We're in the Mount Rushmore Civic Convention Center. It's a really cool place. We actually got the theater, the old theater in the convention center. Really like the space that we're in. You can go to fightlaughfeast.com and then click on events, and there'll be a rally right there. Or you can actually follow the URL flfnetwork.com/rally to get to getting tickets. So
April 29, 30, May 1.
That's right. And if you want to, if there's people that want to vend at the conference, our vendor booth last time in Nashville, pretty much everybody sold out of everything they had. So it's actually, there's a lot of people who are there to do business with Christians, and if you got a good product, it's a great place to go. It's $750 for a booth, but that includes 2 tickets for those who want to who are boothing.
Is Uncle Gary coming out again?
Uncle Gary's not coming that far. What? He's not going to travel that far.
Man.
He doesn't, but we gotta maybe we do need.
We got to figure out how to get.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So that's the logistics. There's you go on our rally landing page. There's there's about 4 or 5 hotels that we got discounts with. You can sign up there. We kick off the conference with beer and psalms on
we
Thursday
kick off the
night.
Conference with a very cool pre-conference that's already full.
Yeah, I wanted you to touch on that. So it's already full though, because I just saw you guys mention
It's
that.
already full, but there's a wait list because so you can sign up for the wait list. But we're doing Warriors in the Garden. There's a sniper training facility about an hour outside of Rapid City that we have a special ops Delta guy, Christian dude coming in to teach us on all sorts of
straight beast, dude.
Yeah, beast mode,
bunch of
pre-conference,
bunch of guns,
six different guns. We're going to walk through 6 different guns. We're going to do a 2,800 foot sniper shot. Going to train us on how to do that. This is going to be a lot of fun. Toby's going to be speaking, doing some devotionals for us at the
theology of violence.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow, I love the fact. So
email us at contact@fightlaughfeast.com if you guys want to get on the wait list. But can't promise you anything.
It's a beautiful thing. I do love the fact that most churches were shutting down and you guys went, you want to what? Guns, beer, and psalms. I like how you went right to that. That's unbelievable.
It's a great quarantine move.
Yeah. It's a great quarantine move.
But okay. Yeah.
And hugs.
All right, guys, as we wrap it up here, we appreciate you guys so much jumping on, telling us about that, getting into some discussions. I knew it would be a fun episode with these guys. You don't even send anything over for show prep. You go, hey, guys,
I know, right?
Fire up your mics.
It was great.
I'm going to drop a subject on you, and then they go for 20 minutes, and we get fed. You know what I mean? I absolutely love it. You guys got any
Greg and Jason.
You guys got any final words as we wrap up?
No, man. Hey, I've been watching you guys, listening to you guys. You guys are doing great, man. I appreciate what you guys are doing, and
Praise God.
This is a tough business. It's a saturated industry, and you guys are being consistent and even add more content out there. And I follow a lot of what you do on Instagram, so I just love it. I'm grateful for you guys.
Keep up the good work.
I appreciate that.
Dakota.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. Can't wait to see you guys.
And I do like when I message Knox and I go, hey, I'm using something wireless. And he goes, wireless? Why are you using wireless in Windows? What's wrong with you? That was his whole response. And then I just had to figure it out for myself. All right, cool. So, guys, we appreciate you listening to the podcast. You can find us at Dead Men Walking Podcast. All the CrossPolitic stuff we're going to link up on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all the places.
Friendster,
so you can go listen to these guys. I highly recommend CrossPolitic. I don't care if you look and you see a new episode of us come up or a new episode of them, you go listen to them. They always have great guests. It's an absolute, I mean, what they're doing with the Fight Laugh Feast obviously is unbelievable, but the podcast is great too. And we appreciate them coming on. Guys, as always, thanks for listening and God bless. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Dead Men Walking Podcast for full video podcast episodes and clips, or email us at deadmenwalkingpodcast@gmail.com.